Ashton. October 28th, Fridays. Oh yeah. Ashton's then. I'm so excited for the Ashton story. I've been waiting so long for Ashton and Luke. Luke is next. I'm so looking forward to it. Now let's have a look to the relationship status. So, this is all well, of course, with Luke it's very slow, low, and Hannah. But everything else is doing really, really well, so I'm quite happy with that, really pleased with it. Ashton boy, the detective, it's time to learn about you, shall we? Now, going to the profiles, I'll do the timeline in a bit. Profile eyes, let's go. So Ashton Ash Frey. Birthday, December 26th. He's a Capricorn and he's 29 years old. He's only 5'5", so 1 meter 64 centimeters. He's shorter than I am and shorter than Hannah. It looked like he was equally as tall as her. Alright. But I think size-wise, he's quite a little bit shorter than average worldwide, because worldwide it's about 170, isn't it, for men? Anyway, enough about size. His occupations, detective inspector, James Bond style or not. Nationality, American, Japanese. Religion, he's Christian, non-practicing. Education, he is a bachelor degree in forensic science. And he likes Zayaki ice cream. He's Shirley. Cannot forget his Shirley, can we? Ophelia, old-timey action movies and thrillers. Kart racing, jazz and swing. Sherlock Holmes and justice. Of course he has to love Sherlock Holmes. Now, let's see what we can read about Ashton, shall we? So, there was little love between his parents. And he grew up privileged. He found little joy in student life. He saw the standard testing system a chore and considered his popularity among his peers to be an annoyance. Rebecca was the only one he considered as a friend in Cinqueretti, and he was no better when he went into university. If anything, his indifferent outlook got worse with his parents' divorce. He initially took law but was quickly disillusioned by how heavy-handed and abusive the system was. Forensic science, on the other hand, became fascinating for him. He served a brief time as a police officer before he applied to join Luxbourne Criminal Investigation Department. Early on, he was too eager to deal out justice, but his numerous years in the service became quite a learning experience for him. Now, as detective inspector, he's been assigned to his biggest case yet, and let me guess, that's going to be about Hannah and Luke Wright and all the strange events happening around them. We're finally going to get some answers, and he's going to start at the 28th of October, so you're going to start here with him. Right, so probably going to have 28, 29, 30, 31 on the 1st of November finally. I really hope. Now, if you want to have a look at it in the book, you can. I'm going to browse really quickly through it. I'm not going to read it. Just put the video on pause if you want to have the whole recap, yeah? Let's see. Alright, October 21st. October 22. Nothing new came October 23. October 25. So I do like the fact that everything is coming together, really. October 26. I do like that the stories are like, they overlap one another. It was a bit with Rebecca. I thought with Rebecca's story it had too much of repeat, really. But in the end it was fine, especially because there was still some new dialogues as well. And I think hers was quite scary. She is a fierce woman. I'm really glad she lives. She can fight off some bad. She's really bad, isn't she? Fighting off like that? Really? Alright, but now Ashton explains why they're friends, that both of them like like to knock. So I'm really looking forward to Ashton. I'm sure it's going to kick some ass. So let's go to the other party on October 28th. Parties have never been really my thing. They're always such a hassle and take so much time of my day. Prior plans and commitments cancelled, all for the sake of playing along with others.
Welcome, welcome everyone.
I hated them even as a child.
Please make yourselves at home.
But Mom often insisted. She'd slick my hair back, put me in one of those stuffy dinner jackets, and if there were any children around, urged me to make friends. Never mind how utterly loud or ditches it was. It was all for the sake of keeping up appearances. To some extent, lies have already surrounded me, long before I have chosen what I want to do with my life. Luckily, there were easy ways to tune everything out, and much to my mom's frustration, I always managed to sneak my CD player along. I kept to myself and into my music, had my own little world, until I learned to observe. It's a simple matter of awareness, really, and for someone with keen eyes, a skewed necktie or a simple flick of the wrist alone could tell volumes about the person. I still don't like parties, especially ones as big and fancy as the Wright's housewarmings. However, when there's actually a reason to go to them, I figure they're not too bad.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Besides, like it or not, it's all part of the job. I'm here on a mission, one that has the name Luke Wright plastered all over it. You'd think the man would want to remain inconspicuous after his name was linked to several high-profile crimes across Luxbourne. Granted, most of it have gone cold over the years, having stagnated without any lead or evidence, but that still doesn't make him any less suspect. Yet here he is, throwing a party in his own backyard. Although, having observed the man this past year, I'm not even shocked. He craves it, the damn spotlight. Constantly yearns for attention like a neglected puppy. It doesn't take a genius to figure out why he's nowhere to be found in his own party. But that's not the problem here. What pisses me off is how far his reach extends. How close he has creeped into the lives of the people I care about. Again, like a stubborn itch he couldn't be rid of. First, Professor Clark. Then there's Isabella. I also spotted Seaman here a while ago, and now there's also Rebecca. Apparently.
Ashton?
Becca, what are you doing here?
I was invited.
Really? I had no idea you were friends with the host.
That explains things, and makes this difficult all the same. As if getting in contact among the staff to sneak a name into the guest list isn't hard enough. The guy almost ditched me last night and might have placed another setback on my investigation, if it wasn't for my generous tip. Then, here comes Rebecca, another person to mind.
Well, it's my parents, actually. But that's beside the point. What are you doing here? You hate parties.
I still do. I'm just here on behalf of a friend.
A necessary lie. I can't bring my own friends into this any further than what they've found themselves in. Because if Luke Wright so much as harms a hair on either Zack or Rebecca's head, there'll be hell to pay. Worrying about Isabella's brief dealings with him is stressing itself already. I doubt he'll attempt anything in front of other people, though. It will tarnish his glorious reputation. He values appearance more than anything. It doesn't necessarily mean he isn't capable of it. More than in fact, and on the off chance he does something, I won't be I won't be responsible for my actions.
That's rare. Do you have someone with you then?
Nope, just me. I won't be staying long.
Well, if that's the case, maybe you and I can...
For Zach's and Rebecca's sake, however, I really hope this'll simply be another housewarming. Even though something tells me it's anything but. Call it detective's intuition or whatever. When Luke Wright's involved, Nothing good has ever come out of it. I can let my guard down here. Even more so when a familiar guard slows to a stop and out comes.
Chief?
My presence here might be odd at best, but I have an excuse. One that this man handed me himself a year ago. Along with a heavy dose of flattery for the newly promoted detective inspector. Can't exactly say the same for my good old boss, can I? Although, to see him here, stringing up with Luxbourne's rich and famous isn't such a big surprise in itself. No disrespect meant, but the guy is obviously a social climber. What is surprising is the fact that he seems all too eager to mingle with a person of interest's wife. Just what the hell is he doing here?
Ashton, what's...
Sorry, Becca. I need to... There's something I need to check for a bit. I'll talk to you later. Do you have a ride home?
No, I had to take a cab here. My car wouldn't start this afternoon. But what about...
What the shit's going on here?
I told you to get that old thing checked before, didn't I? You can head back with me after this. Anyway, I gotta go. See ya. Be careful, okay?
Hey, be careful! About what
I don't want to draw attention to myself either. At least not until he's given me proper reason to spoil its little party.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see?
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again?
For now, the best I can do is wait and remain inconspicuous. Especially with Chief here, whose motives are dubious at best. If it means having to pretend I don't know Zack and Rebecca, or force myself to rub elbows with people I barely know, let alone like, then so be it. I can't involve anyone. Wandering is out of the question as well, when there are guards and civvies stationed here and there. Sure, getting past them is something I could do with ease, but better not right now, and I'm one of the few snooping and roaming about. I'd be best to try and do so once there's a crowd of people. And if their interior designer drunken claims are to be believed...
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing.
It'll all come down to how well I'll pay my cards tonight. With a good hand, this body's going to give me the breakthrough I need to crack Luke right. And something to prove my suspicions wrong. Maybe find out what kind of game my boss is also playing. I've had an inkling before. A few hunches tempered down by how much of a bumbling fool the man appears. But one does not simply deal with the rights and get invited to a party they host without wanting anything from either of the two. Or it's the other way around. So, with a last wary glance at the two, I headed to the ballroom. I just hope this will not complicate things further. Shit! By the time the party's in full swing, night has fallen, yet there still isn't a look right in sight. The man can be quite ostentatious, but this? Frankly, I'm impressed. I don't even know how many holes to verse I've already stuffed my face with. One too many, probably. The servers are already giving me a stink eye every time I saunter over the buffet table. Blame your employer, not me. He's the one who has the guts to show up late. Besides, most of the guests, idle talk, is concentrated in this area, despite sitting on the same roof with the very people they're whispering about. Some just can't resist. I might as well keep an ear for any useful info.
Is Suarez still fixing that tech problem? Tech problem?
It's been 3 years. Sooner or later, the blighter will put two and two together.
He might have already.
If the red tape I'm being slammed with these past few months suggests anything, that someone has been pulling strings. I wouldn't be shocked. This case would not have gone this long if scumbag wouldn't have a mule of some kind in force.
Shush you, we all know Suarez just wants an out.
I knew he was bad news the day the merger with Evans Incorporated happened. Feh.
Glad I did not have to deal with that. But keep it down, someone might hear, the wife especially.
This kind of negligence has always been an advantage, but sometimes I wish I could be smashed drunk while doing this. Having sharp ears also means you get to hear the most unsavory things. Who cheated on who this week? One person's murdered for bashing someone's skull against the wall? Or a father's excuse of burning his own daughter alive? That sort of stuff. Well, the excuse of burning his own daughter alive? What? Right then. After a few years, it gets tiring. You get desensitized to it. But humans could also be downright awful. Sometimes there simply isn't enough brain bleach in the world. Sadly, the wine is no go tonight, and mostly the show. I'm up for another drive later, for one, and I definitely won't be sober in case anything comes up. And something always comes up in an assignment like this. A detective inspector dying for cardiac arrest, for example. Because I can feel the moment my heart grins to a halt, so I'm gonna shift my eyes to the corner of the long ballroom.
Hannah Wright.
Some will say I'm acting a touch bit paranoid, and maybe I am. This is a party, and she's the hostess. It goes to say that she'd take time to mingle with her guests. But Hannah Wright nee Athens isn't without her fair share of accolades. At least to the public, she doesn't seem like it. Unlike her husband, she's the one with the business sense, not to mention the impressive track record needed to manage a company, or effectively hide whatever irregularity there might be. She's clean as far as my agents and I have found, but it doesn't rule out a possible involvement with whatever her husband's up to. Even with Seaman's personal opinion of the woman, there's a certain gut feeling you really couldn't shake off. Hell, Luke White came out clean in previous reports until I bothered to take a deeper look into it. What I found may not be sufficient to bring anyone to trial yet, but it's enough to nurture suspicion. This may be a bit of an overreaction, but no one lasts long in my line of work by being careless.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Nothing to be worried about him. She's probably even more careful with appearances than her own husband, having grown up with the spotlight focused on her. Yet, even knowing that, the anxiety stays. Has been here since the party started. I've brushed it off earlier. Who wouldn't feel that she right? I've gone on a coffin party hosted by the very person I'm investigating. That in itself is risky and has plenty of room for error. Usually though, the tension passes around the first half hour or so. I've been trained to remain composed in a situation like this. However, with each second I spend here, it only grows heavier and seeks to overwhelm. An odd feeling that someone's watching me instead. It has been like this since last week. I should already be used to this. People would be looking at me, no matter how small or big of a blip I am on their radar. That's what they do in these things. But when the feeling of eyes burning to my back lingers longer than necessary, I've been looking around every now and then to catch a culprit. No luck. And despite my efforts to push the sensation as far down as I could, tiny pinpricks continue to sting the back of my head, and the ghost of a cold touch creeps up my lips. Until my gaze switches back to Rebecca and Hannah Wright. She stands there, dark-haired and dirty, sticking out like a sore thumb. Even so, no one seems to notice. Although she's looking away from me, her mere existence here strikes. Disturbs. A sense of tunnel vision binds while I stand stock still and gape at her. Like my life depends on making sure she stays where she is. I feel trapped in her presence. The lonely guest bumps into me, yanking me out of my stupor. Only then do I realize that I've been holding my breath. Before I could figure out what happened, she's gone. A quick scan of the room yields no sign of her. The party continues as if nothing's amiss. I'm not really on judge, but I'm sure someone like that would not have been allowed in a fancy thing like this. What has the security been doing? Are they really that incompetent? Or someone so distinct to easily get in without notice? There should have been an outcry by now, particularly from the host. She's been standing almost an arm's length away from the woman, and yet she simply continues to talk with Rebecca.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way.
Is there something in the food then? I started seeing things. It could have been a wine tom. Or maybe the sobers when it couldn't have been a wine tom. Or maybe the sobers when I first stepped off my car. Don't know what to do with. But why would anyone want to do that? Why would Luke Wright want to do that? He's fishy. But go and see why he'd ever think it'd be a good idea to lace the food he'd serve in his party. With someone like Chief Lee on his guest list to boot. He has been linked to narcotics straight yep. However, that kind of tactic is below him. That much I could tell. Unless there's a mass murder waiting to happen here tonight. Which I highly doubt. So...
What the fuck was that?
But there's no time to look deeper into this, even if I want to. Not when a telling silence comes upon the room and draws everybody's attention to the main doors of the ballroom.
About damn time.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
I've been tailing this guy for a while now. Before that, I heard stories from previous officers who tackled this case, none of which are pleasant. Mind, I am not counting the incident with Russell Clark yet. Pleasant is glossing over the gravity of it. While Wright's good at covering whatever shady stuff he's doing, he's shown to be a really rotten guy. At least, that's the case when he thinks none of his peers are around to judge him. I've lost track of how many counts of verbal abuse and harassment cases the guy could be pinned with. Sitting in the same room as him doesn't make me want to punch him any less. Actually, the urge is stronger. But, protocols. My case first and foremost. My own opinion of the man shouldn't get ahead of my purpose here. If I want to put him in his place, it should be in court, with all proper charges filed against him. What do you, Rebecca, have with wanting to punch him? Oh, poor Luke. And I'll only be able to do that once I gather enough evidence to pin this bastard down.
Welcome one and all to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are all ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness.
Your excuse.
So enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses, as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone.
Suppressing my annoyance, I prepare to step away from the crowd. Amidst the cheers and claps, now is a good time as I aim to move. Try to find that something the McCulloch woman talked about. In the first place, I have no plans to actually shake hands with the slime ball himself. A fake smile sparks on my face, while I pretend to listen to one of the other guests gossiping about him, all while slowly inching out of the ballroom. Unfortunately, before I could get any further,
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle? Perhaps you need to sit down and...
rich people only have two ways to resolve their mess. Either they quietly deal with it behind closed doors, or they create an even greater problem out of it, and just so blows up in everybody's face, one way or another. Fun.
No! Shut it, you mutter! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here! You bloody bastard standing there with your smarmy smile!
Not even a few seconds in, and this is already proving itself to be a big public spectacle. Why spend money on a television to buy daytime soap operas? You could just go to one of these parties and see the action unfold in real life. You get free food too. Really, if I were an actual guest, I'd just take this as some sordid form of amusement.
Watch your tongue. You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
But I'm not a guest who is here for a good time. I need to focus on him. Even though this whole sorry story tale. So I'll wait. I listen. I observe. Interesting, isn't it? That's the chief inspector's wife. Right.